Hi everybody, this is just a simple little tutorial on how to use WordPress. If you've used any kind of blogging software, like maybe you've used Tumblr or Blogger or even Medium, which we'll use in this class, you'll probably have no problem picking up WordPress. The thing that's a little tricky about WordPress is that it's not just blogging software. You can build an entire website with it. So there are some aspects to it that might be a little confusing. But right now, I just want you to focus on how to write a post, okay? First, I just wanted to introduce you to the menu. Gives you some things that you can do for writing your post. And then you have on the right-hand side a menu on whether things about your document, and you can schedule your document when you want to publish it, when everybody can see it. Now, keep in mind this is a private site. So the only people who can see this are the people who have logins, which is only those of us in the class, okay? So you can put when it's published, you can put when everybody can see it. This gives you where the URL is. This is not as important for the class, but you're going to hear me talk a lot about search engine optimization or SEO in this class. And one of the things that we have to think about in terms of multimedia writing is not only that how do we become better writers, but how does our writing and content get found? And I want to emphasize the multimedia aspect because we should be thinking about multimedia that we can add to our posts. So can we add audio? Can we add PDFs? Can we add a picture or a photo gallery that enhances what we've put in terms of our post? Next are categories, and we're going to be adding categories over the course of the semester, and those will match up with what's on the Spring Vegas site that I've mentioned. And this is just a little magazine site that is built using the WordPress software. So what categories are basically the way to navigate. So in the back end of this site, all of these are categories for the posts, okay? But we're going to start here putting all the posts in here, and we'll be adding categories there. Tags also help with SEO. What I advise people to do with their tags is to add big ideas about what the post is about. And you shouldn't have like 50 tags. I probably would do about 10 tops, but just to give people an idea, and again, that helps with search. Featured image, you'll want to be adding featured images, and that's different from the images that are on the post itself. A featured image is basically something that will pop up in on the pages of your site where there are selections to be made. So what do I mean by that? So if you go to New York Times and I go to the US News page, these are all summaries. These are not the actual articles, right? But notice each one of them has this little picture to accompany it, and it just makes it easier to navigate, so it's not just words. That's what the featured image is. So think about what kind of picture you would want that people might see as a smaller picture. And that's why you have to be kind of creative about how you select that, because a picture that works large may not work small, okay? The excerpt function is just what it sounds like. It's basically a 155 character summary, like a tweet, about what the post is about. And then those will be the main things that you want to worry about. Now, when you build, and I do mean build a post, you want to think in terms of blocks. And that's how WordPress works. And it's kind of like if you've used Medium, Medium thinks in that way. So most building blocks in a story are paragraphs, right? So we can do things about the different paragraph. I have my opening statement. In an article or a post, we typically think of that first sentence is your lead. And it is the most important thing that you write. And it should be punchy, and it should grab people's attention, and it shouldn't be long-winded. So you want to really think about, how am I going to write my lead in a way that pulls people in? We'll be talking about leads a lot. We also, your title or your headline is super important. We'll talk about headlines this class period too. The thing to think about with your headline, that is another clue for SEO. is that do you have a well-written headline? So you really want your headline to include some keywords about what is this post about. So the first post I've asked you to write is about yourself. So the best way to do it for a unique identifier or keyword is your name, you know. So Professor Extraord. Maybe that's overstating it. How about this? That's more accurate, okay? Now, there's a couple of different ways that we can use headline types. My suggestion, what we're going to do is we're going to follow the rule for AP style, which is capitalize only proper nouns, so my name, right? So names, formal names should be capitalized, and then the first word of any sentence. Okay, so that's why professor is lowercase, that's why goof is capitalized, and then we can go on from there, okay? And a good headline is typically 5 to 7 words long. Okay, that's what we're going to do for these kinds of posts. Because if I write a really long headline, it's going to be like 6 or 7 lines long at this font size. So we don't want to do that. Okay, so now I have my title. Now, anytime I want to add, so this block has already been created. So here's one. Yours might say start writing or add a writing block. You hit this plus, and these are all the different kinds of things that you can add. Yeah, it's a little overwhelming. So at this stage, we're just going to add a couple of things, okay? So focus on media, so we can add a picture. You can add a photo gallery. You can add a picture with text. You can add a file. You can add a video. Okay, but this text is what we're going to be doing most of our stuff on. And the things that I want to highlight for you, so heading, we can, because you want to break longer posts up with subheadings. You want paragraphs, because we're going to be writing all different kinds of paragraphs. Lists are very important. Pull quotes, so if you have a big quote or something really interesting that people say, you can use quote or pull quote. And that's about it. Those will be the main ones that we're focusing on. You can also do some things to the inline text, and those are important too, because all of this has an effect on your SEO, which is basically what SEO is can someone find your post in Google? Okay. So if I write a post that just, like in my headline, let's just say professor writes post. Okay. Now that's an accurate headline, but there's nothing precise about that. And any professor could have written anything about anything. So that doesn't tell us anything about how to find this post. Whereas if I use my name and use something like goof professor, and let's say that is my identifying brand. So I'm a goofy professor. So I'm goof professor. There probably aren't a lot of professors who do that. So that will make it easier for when I search, because I might say, okay, now go look for my stuff. So I can go Jonathan Groves, goof professor, and that's what I will search for, and it will make that post pop up. Okay, so when we write, what we're going to do here, you've got a block, right? So we're going to add a paragraph. This is my first paragraph. Okay. So now you see how you can format things within the paragraph. So what I'm going to do is, welcome to Multimedia Writing. I'm going to boldface that. And the reason why is because that's what this class is about, and that's what this site is about. So by doing this, that's another clue for Google, because I boldface the words and it says, oh, this apparently is a post about Jonathan Groves, who's a goof professor who apparently has something to do with this class called Multimedia Writing. So all of these are clues to Google so people can find your content, right? Okay. So I'm going to go through here. I'm deleting this. So if you just want to highlight it, you just hit delete and it gets rid of all that stuff, right? Okay, so I'm going to delete this. Now I've got that. So this is starting to come together. If you want to get fancy, you can highlight that and make it a drop cap. That's what a drop cap is. So that's kind of fun. You can change the typography, but I would encourage you to just keep it as is. Okay. So now that I've got this, welcome to Multimedia Writing. To get started, tell us about yourself. Tell us three things. And now the other thing that is really important when you're doing online writing, I mentioned doing some bold facing. You want to use lists and you want to use links. All of these are things that contribute to helping with the SEO of your post. So what I'm going to do, let's see, I'm going to scroll down. There's my list. So you can do a bulleted list, a numbered list. I typically will do a bulleted list. So tell us these things about yourself. So here's my bulleted list. And when you get to the end of your bulleted list, you notice, oh, wait a minute, how can I undo this? Just hit return again and it starts a new block. Okay. So now we've done boldfaced, we've done